Hey guys, it's Hannah and I'm here today with my September wrap up. So I know it's been a couple of months. I think I'm at like 2 months of not posting. I'm sorry about it. But I am finally out of my summer reading slump and I am back at it for fall. I'm very pleased with myself. I made it a point to beat my numbers, like my best numbers, which was in month of May. Also, I would like to pat myself on the back for this, that I have been using my book tracker that I got from Allie over at the Hardback Hoarder. Her book tracker, her Excel sheet, I've been using the whole year, and this is by far the best I've ever done tracking my reading, besides like Goodreads and rating and all that. But I put how many hours I listen to audiobooks in, I put how much I read, so I've got like full data that I'm excited about for like the end of the year, and it really encourages me and keeps me motivated to keep reading. So that was my goal for September. We didn't start off the month like that, but as more as it was going through the month, I was like, okay, let's try to make this a goal, and it definitely got me out of my slump and it worked. So I was trying to beat, like, purely month basis, how many days I listened to an audiobook, like hours I listened to an audiobook, and how many pages I read in an audiobook, or pages I read physically in the month, and it resulted to me reading 14 books in September. Amazing for me. We love this. So pop a little infograph up here. I read 14 books in September. Pages read equal 798, and then hours listened to is 73.5 hours. My average rating is a 3.64, which I feel is not too bad. I had some pretty good reading in here, and I only did 2 rereads. I got quite a bit off of my to be read shelf over here, to the point where I can now face things out on this shelf, which is pretty cool. So it is dwindling. Update on that number. I don't even know, I haven't looked. I take them off as soon as I read them because I enjoy watching that number go down, but I still have a ton. Also, I haven't purchased that much in 2021, but it's still a lot. I'm still at 133 books owned that I have not read, but that is also including graphic novels too. So I have a lot of graphic novels that are on that list that I need to get to. So we're gonna continue getting that number down. But let's get into what I read for the month of September. This is the last book that I finished in September, and why I was waiting to film this so I could complete it. Also, so I can film my next TBR video, because my last TBR video I said I was not going to film another TBR until I finished the 3 books that I put on there. Long overdue. I finally finished this Nora Roberts Seaswept. This is Gabby's favorite adult books, or one of her favorite adult books that I had never read. I think I've only read one Nora Roberts, and it was a novella like years and years ago, and it was like Christmas themed, and that's why I read that one. So I was never a Nora Roberts fan, or ever really read it. And my rating, like, first off, the entire thing, we did these a couple of years ago where we got a book for each other and we wrote all of our thoughts and highlighted. You probably can't see that because my white balance, but there's a bunch of stickers and notes and things in here from Gabby. So that is like the best part by far of this entire thing, is that I got to read basically a book with her like next to me, because I got to read all of her notes about it. There, hopefully it's a little better. It's not so dark in here. I know it's spooky season, but I want you to be able to see. So I ended up, I went on a journey with this book. I started reading it and I was like, oh God, am I gonna hate one of my best friend's favorite book? And she was like, you totally can hate it, that's fine. She's been great about the whole thing. I did not like main character because the main character's a douche. So I started off not liking this at all. After about like the 100-something page mark, it started getting better. And I was like, okay, I'm on board. And I enjoyed it. I definitely would have DNF'd it if it was not for Gabby's notes in here. I'm glad I finished it because I really liked certain elements in this book. I ended up giving this like a 3 0.5 out of 5 stars. The biggest drawback for me is I do not like Cam, the main character, but particularly I do not like Cam's relationship with our main character in here, Anna. They have zero chemistry, and their relationship makes me uncomfy because there's definitely like clear signals of her saying, no, these are my boundaries, and he just waltzes right past the boundaries, and then she was like, okay, like after she said no. And so I didn't love that. I don't think they have a lot of chemistry. I liked each of the characters separately. I liked them. I really loved the dynamic between the brothers in here and Seth, like the young boy. So this book is all about 3 brothers who were individually adopted by this man who like took in basically like strays. And then they all grew up, they're all like in their 30s, and then their dad does again. And he's like alone, and his wife had died by this point, and he adopts this young boy, or is in the process of trying to adopt this young boy, and he dies suddenly. And so the boys kind of have to step in to make sure that this guy, like this young boy, doesn't like get shipped back off to his horrible mother or things like that. So the dynamic and the like thought process is really good. I really just like the romance. I loved the scene setting. I may like other like the next book, I would be interested in either one of the other brothers more than Cam, because Cam is like an entitled, I'm good looking, like women like praise the earth that I walk on, and that like arrogance is my biggest pet peeve. And so that it really bothers me. So this one was not super great. I'm glad I read it so I can like talk about it with Gabby. I'd even be interested into like maybe reading the next of them, but it's not high on my priority list. So this is my first one that I read, or this is my last one I finished for September. My 2 rereads that I did this month, I finished off the Bloodlines series. These are the last 2 in the book. They were both 5 out of 5 stars. These will always have a special place in my heart. I love rereading these. You guys know I'm obsessed with this series and these characters, and yeah, if you haven't picked up Vampire Academy, it's becoming a show. I'm super hyped about that. I have feelings on the characters they cast for it because they don't match the descriptions of them. But there's some character casts that I absolutely adore how they're casted. And I'm like, yes. Like, I love Rose, who got casted as Rose. Not so much for some of the other ones, but whatever. 5 out of 5 stars for both of these. Next up was an arc I had on my shelf since 2019. And I like just happened to like be browsing my local library, like audiobooks, and this one came in. I was like, good, I can get this off my shelf, I can get it read. Wasn't thinking much of it. I forgot how much I love royalty, like especially like American royalty stuff. Actually, that's a lie. Any royalty stuff, like I'm into, and I forget that until I pick up a royalty type of thing. And then I think especially like American royalty, I especially love because it's cool to like have it take place here, and we've never had like royalty. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I thought this was a lot of fun. This is good fluff. I flew through it. I would definitely recommend, if you like the selection series, pick this up. It's a lot of fun. It's not the best thing in the world. It's not the greatest writing. I enjoy this is like a lush read for me. Like, this is not like great literature. I just enjoy it. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Enough so that I went and picked up, like as soon as I finished this one, I picked up the second one, which is Majesty. So this one, unfortunately, I did not like as much. It severely went downhill for me for this. This one I rated a 4 out of 5 stars. Solid, solid book. Majesty, I rated like a 2.5/3. Oh boy, so there's not much to tell about this. It's just an American royalty book, and that's what this is about. It's similar tropes of like being the spare and the limelight and all of those tropes, you know, that come with that. This one, we had some great like villain dynamic in the first one, and we had good like romancy things, we had good best friends, we had like frenemies. This one, everything went wrong with this one. So like the villain of the whole 2-book series like didn't get her comeuppance, and I was annoyed about that. And like the sweet characters that should have a fighting chance didn't ever like get a backbone and stand up for themselves, and so that one just left me very, very disappointed. So I still recommend the book, but be forewarned that Majesty, nothing goes right in that book. Next up, I also pulled off this arc from 2020 off of my shelf, and that is 500 Miles from You, Ginny by Jenny Colgan. This one I ended up rating a 3 out of 5 stars. I think I'm probably gonna drop it down. It's like probably more of like a 2.5 out of 5 stars. I'll probably drop it back down because I literally have already forgotten what this was about until I read the back again. This is a story where our main character, Lissa, experiences something tragic and gets PTSD from it, and so she can no longer work as a nurse in her hospital. So instead, the company is trying to be very like understanding about things, and she like messes with some violations because she persuaded a patient to do like donating organs and things like that. So she kind of like got suspended, but her suspension was that her and this other person who lives in Scotland, she's in London, switch places. And so it's a bit like, it's like Holiday or something with Jack Black, and it's a great movie. It's a great Christmas movie. But you know how they like switch places for different houses that they live in? That's basically what happened here, but they also did the job thing too. So she goes and lives in the like countryside in his house, and he lives in her like London apartment that's super tiny. It was very mediocre. I wouldn't really recommend this to everybody. Like, it's a very forgettable book in my opinion. Next up, I read 2 graphic novels this month, definitely to get up my page count rating, because I was trying to get those numbers in. So I got through my graphic novels that like I went through, and I picked out some that I wanted to read, which worked out great because I had several that I needed to get off my TBR shelf anyway. So I recently picked up and read Batman Earth 1 Volume 3. I enjoyed this one. I get a 3 out of 5 stars. It did not live up to the first and second volume, which is a bummer because we were waiting for this third one for years, and the art style is fantastic. The symbolism in this is great. Like, I love the illustrator in this. The storylines really fell through for me. It was kind of middle of the road for this. We got to deal with the mental health in here. Killer Croc is in here, and it's really all about like the Arkham and Batman's bloodline and kind of like the legends behind his bloodline and things like that. That's the main stories in here. The next one is going to be Joker. So I may pick it up just because like you got me with the Joker thing. I would like to see that being played out in this art style. I'm pretty sure it's the Joker. Yeah. So the very last page, we've got the Joker here. So I may pick up the next one just because I enjoyed the art style so much in this. But this one was a bit of a letdown for me. Again, the art style is saving these graphic novels. I picked up Snot Girl Volume 3, Is This Real Life? Which is the entire idea behind this whole graphic novel. This is a wild ride. If you want a very confusing mystery, like psychological thriller type of graphic novel, it's this one, but in a very cutesy art style. So very colorful, very like cutesy art style, but it's hella confusing. So you don't really know if she's like dreaming this up, if things are really real. She's an unreliable narrator. There's some gaslighting in here. Like, it's a wild ride. And I'm just kind of sick of it because I need more answers than this. I understand like leaving some things being confusing for the main character, but to be in the 3rd volume and still not sure what is happening, I'm not gonna pick these up anymore, which kills me because I love the art style. The art style is Brian Lee O'Malley, like the same person who's done Seconds, which I've never read. But I love the art style so much, but it's not, the storyline is not worth it for the confusing head scratches that this takes me on, that I'm like, what is going on? Like, what's the substance in here? So I will no longer be following up with this. If you guys happen to read the 4th volume of this whenever it comes out, and you get some answers or clarity, or you think that one's super good and I should pick it up, let me know. But otherwise, it's not gonna be on my list. Next up was a Shelf Indulgence book club pick, and I was pleasantly surprised with this. This was the perfect fall time spooky witchy book that I wanted to kick off my fall into, and I'm so glad it was this one, and that is A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. They wrote this beautifully. It was very atmospheric and very vivid. So this one takes place, there is a like prestigious school that is very literature based, because there's supposed to be some like favorite or famous like writer or something that like happened in this house. So this house is very prestigious to live in. It's like a boarding school type of school, and she, like our main character, she is going through some major PTSD issues because her girlfriend died, and she isn't fully out, and her death in here was a bit of a mystery surrounded by it. And this house is also known for this mysterious deaths of the Dalloway 5 murders and like witchcraft and things like that that are in here. And it's just a good time. Go pick it up. It's like dark academia, witchy, fall time, queer vibes, and it's a good time. Yeah, I rated this one a 4 out of 5 stars. It was a good time. I would definitely reread this one. Very atmospheric if you're looking for a good fall book. And lastly, I picked up the Bookshop of Yesterdays by Amy Meyerson. This one was a random one that was on sale like forever ago during one of Barnes & Noble's sales, and I thought it was like a cool premise, so I wanted to pick it up. I ended up rating this one a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It was a fun time. This one is all about a woman who, not long lost, but like they had grown apart and separated, her and her uncle, and they were really close when she was younger. And then she finds out like her uncle died, and all of a sudden she has, like, she basically inherits this bookshop. And the way that she like lures back is when she was younger, her uncle would make these riddles and little like scavenger hunts for her. And so she wanted to do his last scavenger hunt and find these clues, because after his death, she randomly got this postcard in the mail with a clue. So she kind of like goes on this like mystery thing and finding out secrets of her past, and her mom won't talk to her about things, and the estranged relationship between like him and their family and everything like that. It was a lot of fun. This is probably not a reread for me, and this would be for someone who wants to read in a bookshop setting with a book, like working in a bookshop and saving a bookshop, things like that. So overall, good time. Not something that's gonna be like my favorites by any means. So that is all of the books that I read in September. If you are still here, thank you for being a champ. I don't know, leave me like, I don't know, a little like witch hat emoji or something for the month of October. And I will see you guys in my next video very soon. Thank you for watching. Bye.